Nityanandam, thank you so much for tuning in. So it's early morning here in Bengaluru Adinam, the home place of the Avatar and my beloved Guru, Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda. So the inspiration for today's video is based off yesterday's Satsang. So Swamiji shared an amazing punchline, which was the status update for my Facebook profile, which was, you cannot measure the earth with matchsticks. And in that same way, you cannot measure life through logic. So this is exactly what's happening here in Inner Awakening when we're receiving initiation of Third Eye Awakening. So for a lot of skeptics and a lot of people that haven't experienced what it is to have their third eye awakened and what it means, one of the, again, another punchline which Swamiji uses, which I absolutely love, is it makes you go from logical to magical. So it's a way of really moving us from our logical, arithmetic logic kind of assumptions and conclusions, which often are detrimental to how we experience our lives because they're based on conditionings from our past. And more often than not, they'll be based on negative experiences that we've had. So this is where our feelings of self-doubt come from, our self-hatred, eventually self-denial, where we even deny ourselves an opportunity for trying. We're so stuck in our logical assumption that we're just going to fail, so why try? So having our third eye awakened is a way of moving out of logic and stepping into really living your life as a spiritual being. What do I mean as a spiritual being? I mean guided by this innate intelligence which is there. When your mind is silent during meditation, it's this innate intelligence which comes through as a strong, most people say it's a presence they feel within their body. That presence, allowing that to guide you, allowing that to run your life, if you will. And it's absolutely healing. It's given me, I'm speaking from experience, a lot of healing emotionally, and it's shifted me from many powerless cognitions to being a person that is very much powerful, very much grounded in myself, understanding that the things that I'm thinking about myself, I'm not just running with them. I'm questioning, is this cognition something that is serving me? Is it helping me to expand, or is it shrinking me? So if it's shrinking me, why is it even there? So actually one of the things that I experienced during my inner awakening, I just shared with you all that I had, it was very healing for me. So when I say healing, I did mention that it was healing both emotionally, with my cognitions, how I would see myself, the understanding that I had of myself and how I interact with others in the world, but also physically healing. So one of the things that I used to suffer with a lot back in Australia was migraines. So this is something that started from a very young age. Actually, I remember the first time that I ever had a migraine. I think I was maybe 8 or 9 years of age, and this is the first time I really remember the pain of a migraine. So I remember my eyes were hurting so badly, and just all of the sounds and lights and everything were just, I felt really violated by all of these, my senses just felt really violated, and I felt that all I want is just to close my eyes and shut down completely, and just not be spoken to and not be approached at all. And I remember telling my dad that I was feeling unwell, I have a headache, and he was like, you're a kid, you know, kids don't have headaches. He was somewhat skeptical, and I remember he kind of tried testing me out by seeing was I really sincere in what I was saying, by trying to lure me out to going and watching a movie. He's saying, come on, we'll go out for a movie, and I was like, no, I am not feeling well. So this was the first recollection that I had of actually experiencing, you know, a migraine. And then it kind of followed me. So in my workplace, many times I would develop them, and then by the time I would get home from work, I would have to literally just shut off all the lights in my bedroom, close the door, and fall asleep. And that was the only thing that would ever get rid of this migraine. So actually, after I attended Inner Awakening program, it was only after I had been at work for some time, maybe you know, a few months, that I had been back at work. And it's so funny that see, the migraines that I would develop, it was like quite frequent. So I'm talking about, if not weekly, at least fortnightly, I would have some kind of an episode where I would have a migraine. So it was only after driving back home from work, after maybe 1 month after Inner Awakening had finished, or even 2 months after, something around that point, I was thinking there's something that's different, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Something is definitely, I'm feeling something different about, you know, how I'm feeling, but I couldn't quite like get to the point in my mind where I was like, what is it that's shifted? What is it that's changed? Obviously, I've had a lot of cognitive shifts, and I can see, wow, okay, something that used to affect me before, such as, for example, road rage. I used to get highly agitated and very angry very easily. Even this, I would notice the things that would normally set off a certain reaction in me. This wasn't being triggered anymore. So this was definitely noticeable. But then it clicked in me where I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I haven't had a migraine in such a long time. It's I don't know if it was completely healed. I remember thinking to myself, let's see what happens from here. This is amazing. This is a breakthrough. Like I said, weekly or fortnightly, guaranteed I would get a migraine. I would never know what would set it off, but it would inevitably be there. So after my Inner Awakening, this it wasn't completely healed until now. I've gotten here in this Adinam. Now I can say that I don't have episodes anymore. But I can say definitely the contributing factor for such an intense healing is the development of my consciousness. See, the cognitive shifts that I had, the relief of stress in my thinking, and how that correlates to how I was obviously feeling. It wouldn't trigger these negative emotions in my body anymore. Also having this vegetarian sattvic diet, where see, garlic used to be a part of my diet. It was like a staple herb that I would cook with. So in Vedic tradition, garlic is considered medicinal. So even using these things as and when I need it medicinally, and see, I don't actually use it at all, but having that understanding that there's certain foods that are good for the system, and there's certain foods that perhaps aren't so good for the system on a regular basis. So I guarantee all of these things absolutely helped in this really strong healing. And another thing that Swamiji is making sure that all of his devotees and disciples take on a daily basis is haritaki. So I'll leave a link for you beneath explaining what haritaki powder is and how it actually works on the system. So it increases oxygen in the brain. So it's made from a particular seed. It increases oxygen in the brain, and it's extremely healthy for the nervous system. So I'll leave a link for you beneath an explanation of what haritaki is. And again, with the third eye, with attending Inner Awakening, it's something that I feel we've come to a point now in this day and age where the way we're living life is no longer serving us. It's no longer serving humanity. It's no longer serving our planet and the species that are living on this planet with us. We're actually being so destructive in so many ways. It's just, it's the unchecked mind. The unchecked mind is operating on fear and greed, and it's just, we're getting to a point where it's almost reaching I don't want to use the word epidemic, but it's reaching to a point where we can see it's no longer serving us. So we need to start reconnecting and understanding that yes, we are in fact spiritual beings. There's more to us than we think. There's a lot more that we're able to experience about ourselves and about our lives that we're not seeing. So if you're watching this, please take it as a calling for you also to take the jump from logical to magical. It is obviously the way of the future. I'll leave links for you guys for Inner Awakening. There's a website, please. Oh, it's cute. There's a bell there. There's links. I'll leave the link for you for Inner Awakening. You can have a look through that, the website. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave me one in this video, and I'll absolutely get back to you. And please watch the videos that I'll leave the links to about the Haritaki. And again, I'll leave a link of it's a webinar on Third Eye Awakening, which was the first webinar, one of the first webinars I ever did in Australia via two-way video conferencing. And even then I remember watching it thinking, it went above my head. I thought it sounds too good to be true, and I was also a little bit skeptical and whatever, but I had the open-mindedness that, I mean, I had experienced through meditation and I had experienced through Kundalini awakening things that I just simply couldn't I couldn't explain them logically. So I know there's something greater out there, and I'm so grateful that I've been called for this. If you're watching this, it means that there's a calling for you too. It's not a joke. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Nityananda.